Howdy folks. So this is a poster I've presented at a few conferences now. It's the culmination of a lot of the work that I've done throughout my career. It's titled, Is There a Metacognitive Trait? Investigating Individual Differences in Performance Predictions. That's a confusing title, but what's going on really isn't too bad. We always start off by asking people to give us a grade prediction, and usually the more uh, highest performing students tend to have the most accurate grade predictions. We actually have a graph of that here. So you can see that the higher performing students tend to have a calibration that's near or below 0. 0 means that they were perfectly accurate, with the highest performing students actually tending to get a little bit underconfident in their grade predictions, meaning that they thought they were going to get a 90, but actually they got 100 on the test. The lower performing students tend to be less accurate. So if they got around a 70 on the test, they tend to get about 20 points overconfident. So they thought they were going to get a 70, but actually, sorry, they thought they were going to get a 90, but they actually got a 70. Now this is actually a very common finding in the literature, and what's going on in this study is to investigate whether there's a trait in this metacognitive ability, meaning are some people just inherently better at making these grade predictions compared to other people. And we also wanted to know whether there's uh, a more complicated level of domain knowledge than we'd previously thought. What I mean there is, well, previous research suggests that the higher your test performance, the better your predictions. However, what other information might play a factor in those grade predictions? Like, do students who've taken a class um, several times have better grade predictions? Maybe students have better grade predictions for the third or fourth test in a semester, since they know what the teacher is going to test them on. So the second research question is trying to figure out what things, if any, predict the accuracy of grade prediction beyond just your test performance. So we've got a methodology here. It seems complicated, but it really isn't too bad. We have people take a test, they make a grade prediction before and after the test. The thing is, they actually completed a series of quite a few, 4 different types of tests. They made grade predictions before and after each one, and they also did the same thing 1 week later for a set of similar tests. So they've completed 16 grade predictions, of course, a litany of test types and prediction situations, and the data that we get looks like this. It's more complicated, but it provides a better answer to what's going on with these predictions than just the simple but misleading prediction we had before. So we do find once again that higher test grades are associated with better grade predictions. But what we also find is that some people are just much better at harnessing their test performance knowledge than other people. So some people have this horizontal line where they are always inaccurate in their grade predictions by about 10 to 20 points, no matter how well they did on a test. Other people have a huge incline. And what that tells us is that, well, those people are really making a metacognitive judgment, and that the more knowledge they have on the test, the more accurate their prediction is. So it may be that there is a metacognitive trait, but that the trait is whether or not people are able to use information about a test to make grade predictions. We also had the second research question. Are there different domains of knowledge that affect your test performance? And we did find some interesting results there. So to provide some conclusions, there may indeed be a trait for metacognitive accuracy. It seems like some people are just better at using information about their test performance to make accurate grade predictions. We also found that there are 3 different types of domain knowledge that were useful. Test performance, pre and post predictions, and test types each actually produced individually useful bits of information in making grade predictions. What that means is that people were able to use how well they performed on the test to predict their grade. They were able to use the information they gained from taking the test to predict their grade, and they were able to use the information of what type of tests they were taking to predict their grade. But testing session was not a significant variable. What does that mean? Well, turns out that the second time people saw a test, not necessarily the same questions, but similar questions in the same area of information, they weren't any better or worse at making grade predictions, which is weird. You'd think that the third test in a class semester would be more easy to make a grade prediction for, but that just wasn't the case. So what can we take away from this? First and foremost, the way people make grade predictions is complicated, more complicated than the simple higher performing students have better predictions that we had thought before. But so in the future, we should consider whether or not some people are just better at making grade predictions, and whether some people are working with a harder uh, plate, they're working with a harder field of information because they can't access the information that other students are. Alright, I hope that was interesting to you. And if you have any questions, compliments, or complaints, please let me know in the response. And I'll be more than happy to get to you as soon as possible. Have a wonderful day.